Good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, January 13th, 2021. My name is Thomas Hunt, and we're just getting started today on the Good Morning Everybody show. We've got some very basic and general topics we just want to talk about. Go ahead and say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're from. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe down below. We had one new subscriber yesterday, so we are building. We are building something. Also, my Streambox works now. Look at that. Streambox action. So what's going on in the world today? Well, today begins with a shout out to Open Broadcaster. Open Broadcaster software, commonly known as OBS, used to be a little buggy, but I love this new version. Version 26, specifically 26.1.1. Packed with new features and doesn't seem buggy and crashy anymore. Thank you, developers of the open source Open Broadcaster Studio. You might not have a need for Open Broadcaster, but let me tell you a little bit about what it does and maybe it'll fit into your life. Obviously, I'm broadcasting this right now on OBS. It works with my little stream box, so I can go big and small. I've got a handful of buttons here. Each one of these buttons is like a scene. So you can set up a scene, put a graphic in the corner. The new features I'm using today, pretty obviously, the green screening works now. You can green screen directly in OBS. You don't have to install a bunch of plugins and follow some strange instructions. It's a lot simpler now. And I didn't even mess with the settings. So we're just open settings and it worked. So good job, OBS. The other new feature I want to talk about is called, virtual camera. And you can now use OBS as a virtual camera in your video chatting program. So whether you use Jitsi or Zoom, you can now use OBS as a camera. That means that this green screening also works in Jitsi, which is open source and doesn't have green screening. Zoom already has green screening, so this doesn't really matter. But if you wanted to go into Zoom with a lower third or a graphic behind you or a cool background or some kind of thing that's a little more advanced than what Zoom does, you could do it with OBS and this OBS virtual camera. Versions 26 point and above, I kind of had to go up to like 26.02 or some kind of thing to get the virtual camera. But now you can see it says start virtual camera right below start recording and above studio mode. So very easy to use. Feels less buggy. Used to feel like you'd edit things, they wouldn't work. You'd rename things, it wouldn't work. It just felt very buggy. I had this bug every time I started OBS. I had to double check that my sound was set to the board to output. And if it was set previously, it wouldn't remember. So you'd have to change it and then change it back to get the sound to work. Otherwise, the only way you'd know your sound wasn't working is the little bar wasn't running. So huge improvement. Making life better. I talked a big talk yesterday. I was going to edit Batman. I was going to play Minecraft, all these things. Mainly, I just messed with OBS. I just made these, I made these screens work. I made the background work. I made the Mad Bitcoins background work. Not for this show, but, I just had a great time with OBS Studio yesterday. So check that out. It's free. It's open source. It's on Windows, Mac, and Linux. If you have any need for video recording, live streaming, broadcasting, you want to record offline and upload it later, OBS seems to be the place to go. This is where it's happening. And now a little bit of Bitcoin news. Documenting Bitcoin at Document Bitcoin on Twitter. Actually a pretty good Twitter account. I wasn't so sure. There haven't been too many great Twitter accounts lately, mainly just price action. Anyway, Documenting Bitcoin says, many celebrate the white paper and Genesis block as major moments in Bitcoin's history. Not enough celebrate today. Not enough people celebrate today. 12 years ago, the first Bitcoin transaction to another person was sent. It was the start of a true network between peers. Satoshi Nakamoto sent Bitcoin to Hal Finney. And just an incredible person, Hal Finney. Big supporter of Bitcoin, big supporter of the idea of online digital currency. Hal Finney's the kind of person, he's been on that mailing list for a long time. He's made all kinds of great comments. He's been interested in the various projects going by. And when he sees Bitcoin, he gets a little bit more than interested. He volunteers. He puts his time down to improve the project, not only writing about the project, but also testing it in a technical manner, trying to find improvements and possible mistakes that Satoshi's made, just really being there and being supportive in the beginning. Maybe this means that Hal Finney knew Satoshi personally. Nod, nod, wink, wink. But anyway, incredible contribution to Bitcoin. We should be celebrating it more. I think we do, at least around here. Hal is kind of like our patron saint. We just really like Hal. But great stuff from Hal Finney and at Document Bitcoin. Shout out to Crypto Graffiti. He's back on Twitter and he's back with force. Crypto Graffiti says, one of the 12 Bitcoin versus Federal Reserve billboards still needs a message. What would you say about our current financial system or Bitcoin as an alternative? If chosen, yours will still soon go up in a working class Bay Area hood and you get 500,000 sats. Chosen in 24 hours, tag at BTC versus Fed or see the thread for, I don't know, inspiration. I'm not sure what that word's supposed to be. But if you want to fill in on this billboard, tell Crypto Graffiti what it should say. I think my vote was, you are not late, something like that. You still have time. There's still a chance for you to get some Bitcoin, get some sats. He's had some other ones all about like the dollar and the collapse. It's a really cool series that he's doing here of billboards, probably cheaper billboards, no offense, man. But he's bought a billboard in every city that has a Federal Reserve Bank, and he's putting these signs up. So very cool project from Crypto Graffiti. Check him out on Twitter at Crypto Graffiti. I'm going to pause and drink my tea before we go all political on you, although we hope to go more technical political. But oh yeah, that's the tea. Got the English breakfast tea, almond milk, little vanilla in the almond milk. Oh yeah, that's some good eating. Of course, you got to put sugar in it too. That's the most difficult to make tea in the world. If you make it wrong, it really does taste like hot ham water. I don't know. Nicole Perloff writes, Gizmodo mapped 70,000 geolocated Parler posts and isolated hundreds from January 6th near the Capitol. All this data is courtesy of Parler's lax security, which allowed researchers to scrape users' posts, metadata, and GPS coordinates. For those of you who hadn't heard recently, a hacker hacked or actually just sniffed Parler and stole or borrowed, or they left it out on the porch and he picked it up. All of their data. Allegedly, the hacker got all of the instant messages, the private messages on Parler. They got all of the location data for Parler, who never should have been storing that, never should have been had this unencrypted, all that kind of thing. They got the usernames. They got the passwords. They got everything. They got just everything, which again, complain all you want about these left-wing companies running your technology, but they don't have this happen, right? I mean, there's been Twitter hacks, but not a Twitter hack like this. And it basically shows one of the big problems with trying to switch to one of these new systems is that the code is just not good enough. And the people who are writing it are not good enough. And it's interesting to see all the right-wingers have their little revolution against Silicon Valley, and we're going to write our own software. We can do this. We don't need you lefties. And for it to fail so badly. It's kind of obvious, right? You can look this up. The CIA was having a hard time recruiting computer hackers because of their insane drug policies. Even the CIA had to accept hackers who smoke weed. So if the CIA had to accept hackers that smoke weed, what do you think you conservatives are going to have to accept if you want your network? Now, I guess they could hire some left-wing people. They would just have to pay more, and those people would have to believe in nothing. So maybe they'll get some good hackers who are nihilists. But for now, Parler got beat bad. All of their data's out there, and now it's being analyzed by researchers who tracked them coming into the Capitol. So interesting stuff. Of course, GPS is not exact when you're inside the building, but what an interesting surprise from Parler. There's going to be tons more of this, tracking the different violent posts, tracking the word usage, all that kind of stuff. It's almost like the conservatives accidentally entered into a big science project and the experiment is on themselves. The guinea pigs are you. This is an interesting side note to the U.S. Capitol riot. We're not going directly into it. We're giving you some side action here. U.S. Capitol rioters could face long jail terms because of Trump's own executive order originally created to target and punish Black Lives Matter. I'm sure you guys all remember this order that came down from Trump. He was trying to protect the statues and the buildings. It seemed absurd at the time, and that's when it was being targeted against Black Lives Matter protesters. It's still absurd now. Despite the horrible actions taken by the insurrectionists at the United States Capitol. But now the law is coming home to roost. As it says here, the protesters may be liable to be punished with up to 10 years in prison for injury of federal property under the executive order signed by Trump during the Black Lives Matter anti-racism protests in July 2020. Obviously, the United States Capitol is a government building. It is federal property, much like the statues. It really shows you if you don't stand up to absurd laws when they come down against your enemies, those absurd laws will be used against you. Didn't care about the protesters going to jail for 10 years for touching a statue, and now the worm turns. This is a really sad and horrible story. Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, who's 75 years old and survived cancer, got COVID-19 because the Republicans refused to wear masks inside of the Capitol chamber when they were hiding from the insurrectionists. There's even a video of another congresswoman going around trying to hand them masks, trying to be polite, and they wouldn't wear the masks. Really comes down to non-aggression principle here, right? It's aggressive to breathe your potentially diseased air on other people. It's polite to wear a mask and not to breathe your diseased air on other people. It's very possible, sad here though, that this could result in the death of the congresswoman. It's very possible people in that chamber may be held legally accountable for this. So respect other people's space. Don't touch other people if they don't want to be touched. Don't breathe on them if they don't want to be breathed on them. And of course, the golden rule applies. Think of what you would want to do if you were in the reverse situation. You wouldn't want someone to breathe on you if you were a 75-year-old lady who had had cancer and was trying to avoid the coronavirus, like everyone is. Shout out to Ben Ark at ArkBTC on Twitter. Ben says that decentralized Twitter is coming along nicely. He showed a demo video right here on the World Crypto Network, or over there at the World Crypto Network. And he's sending messages between two clients over the Nostra network. His client is on the left. A Schnorr key pair is generated using BIP39 word phrase. The accounts exchange public keys to follow each other. So it is interesting to see these technologies continue to be built that would allow us to communicate without a centralized server, getting rid of the centralized problems of banning and blocking, censorship, and control. Of course, leading potentially to other problems. But it really comes down to a sense of morality, a sense of goodness, and controlling yourself when you communicate, thinking that everything you say or do will eventually be printed on a billboard for all to see, much like the Parler people are going to experience. I thought this is a really great comic strip from the Richard Feynman at Prof. Feynman account. Obviously not the real Richard Feynman. He passed away decades ago. But it's a great little cartoon, and it shows a boat, and there's two men in the top of the boat and two men in the bottom who are bailing. And the two men at the top of the boat say, "Sure glad the hole isn't at our end." So it says at the top, today's society. It really does seem like we have a problem where if there's a crisis on this boat, and whether you think of it as a boat or a submarine or an entire planet, like Buckminster Fuller used to say, spaceship Earth. If there's a problem on our spaceship, I think of the problem in the terms of holacracy, that this is everyone's problem. The air hole on the submarine, sure, it's a problem for your cabinet, your container right now, but it could be a problem for the entire submarine. Not enough people are thinking this. A lot of people are thinking, oh, that's someone else's problem, or I could just pollute this area, or I could just destroy this democracy or this country or this norm. Even the norms are being attacked. And it's always someone else's problem until the boat begins to sink. So, Orange Book at orangebook_ on Twitter, the worst character on the keyboard, hardest to type, says, 5 years ago, you also felt like it was too late to start. If you started, you probably realized today that you were wrong. And I really take this one to heart. It wasn't 5 years ago. I think it was 7 or maybe 8 now. And I thought I was too late to start the Mad Bitcoins account. I thought I was too late to go on YouTube. I was too old. I wasn't like the young kids. Although I think technology keeps me young, but not the way you're thinking. No vampire blood. But just the idea of being into this tech and being empowered by this tech and being able to do amazing things like edit Batman movies and Star Wars and everything else that I have learned how to do thanks to this computer. Without a computer, I'm not very useful. I mean, I'm still clever, but not like with a computer. And it's still plenty of time for you to start your project. You just need to find a way to do it that doesn't cost so much. I saw a great quote not too long ago that said that, living cheaply isn't that difficult. Like if your goals are to read, to write, to have friends, to have family, have some peace, you don't need that much money for it. It's these larger goals that need more money. So start your project now. It's not too late. And this is another great article. The link is down below. It's all about Geocities. And it's about the people that started Geocities. You guys might not have heard of Geocities. I'm super old. But originally, when you wanted to have a web page on the internet, there wasn't anywhere to put it. There wasn't a blogger. You had to have your own server, which meant you had to run Linux or you had to run Windows. You had to run a whole bunch of programs, a web server, to get your web page on the internet. Then there was Geocities and other places like Angel Fire. And you could just go to Geocities and copy and paste your HTML code, slam it into there. I don't know, somehow you'd upload the images or load them from other sites and stuff. And everyone could have a home page. And it really helped kick off the internet. And it's a great story about Geocities. And it's also a great story about the end of Geocities. They were bought by Yahoo, like so many great internet technologies and tools. And Yahoo conspired to turn it into a pile of dust. Yahoo tried to delete our internet history on Geocities, and it was only saved by Jason Scott of textfiles.com and the rest of his crew at Archive Team. I've been following Jason for a while. I love textfiles.com. I was there when he announced it at DEF CON in the 90s, and I love the Internet Archive. I love the work they do preserving our internet history, and this was a specifically historic and amazing chapter of our internet history where Jason created the Archive Team. And at first I'd seen Jason's Twitter referring to Archive Team, and I wasn't sure if he was talking to his crew at the Internet Archive or if he was just saying generally, or if he was talking to a general internet group called Archive Team. And it turned out to be the last one. He was talking to a general internet group called Archive Team, who he created by espousing a philosophy that we should be saving the internet. Jason espoused this philosophy. The first project they worked together on as a decentralized distributed group was the Geocities project. They saved Geocities by downloading it from multiple computers, multiple servers, so they didn't overload, get banned, get tagged, all that stuff. And they saved Geocities. And now it's on the Internet Archive, and you can go look at all these old animated GIFs and these lousy HTML pages we used to build. But that's what we did. That was the early internet. And it's important to save it. It's sad that Yahoo didn't see that. Yahoo again didn't see it again with Flickr and ended up selling Flickr. And then the other group, hopefully they'll respect and save Flickr. But if not, Jason and Archive team hopefully will save Flickr as well. So there is some great work being done on the internet at Internet Archive and at Archive team, saving things like Geocities. And finally, we're going to close today and hopefully not lose our ad rights. But I just thought this was really moving and emotional. Ken Jennings did the first Jeopardy show following the passing of Alex Trebek, and he made a beautiful little send-off to Alex. I've been watching Jeopardy since I was a kid. I just love the questions and the answers. When I was a little kid, I used to think that Alex knew all the answers without looking them up, and apparently he knew quite a lot. He was very clever, and he'd studied them beforehand. But just a great guy, just a great professional. A man that did his job for about 35 years on Jeopardy. And let's listen to Ken celebrating Alex Trebek. Oh, no, we can't because the thing's on the wrong thing. Okay, let's change the speaker output. Let's try it one more time. Ken Jennings, the host of Jeopardy.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome to Jeopardy. You know, sharing this stage with Alex Trebek was one of the greatest honors of my life. Not many things in life are perfect, but Alex did this job pretty much perfectly for more than 36 years, and it was even better up close. We were dazzled by his intelligence, his charm, his grace, really, there's no other word for it. Like all Jeopardy fans, I miss Alex very much, and I thank him for everything he did for all of us. Let's be totally clear, no one will ever replace the great Alex Trebek, but we can honor him by playing the game he loved. Jim, Tanae, Julia, welcome to the show.
Very nice tribute there by Ken Jennings, the first guest host of the new Jeopardy, odds-on favorite to become the permanent guest host, although I like LeVar Burton as well. Just reminded of something I learned during, they made kind of, when Alex passed, they released these hour-long TV special kind of things, but I watched a great one on Nightline or something like that. And one of the things they said is that Alex started out, one of the things he did before Jeopardy was he hosted like a quiz show for kids. And it was like the high school championships of quiz shows. And when he had to host the show for he never wanted to be mean to them when they were wrong. He never wanted to say, "You're wrong, you're stupid, get out." He wanted them to make it feel like they were wrong, but they could get the right answer. They could get it right next time. He wanted to encourage them. Because he was dealing with a lot of smart kids, and smart kids are difficult. If you burn them, you could ruin them. You could wreck the smart kids. So Alex really understood this in his early quiz shows, and he brought this same attention and concern to Jeopardy. So when he's dealing with smart adults who sometimes are a lot like kids, right? If you're too smart, you get a little childlike. And he didn't want to hurt their feelings. He didn't want to make them feel bad. He wanted to encourage them, and that's what you find when you watch Jeopardy. You get that feeling where even if you don't know all the answers, or maybe you don't know any of the answers, you enjoy it. You enjoy being encouraged to learn. And a lot of the Jeopardy answers that I know from watching the show over and over again. The trivia teaches you as well as letting you show off because you know some trivia. So it's a great show. Thanks to Alex. Thanks to Jeopardy. Good stuff. And that's about it for this quick update episode of Good Morning, Everybody. I want to give a shout out. We actually had a donation. The link is in the description below for Tallycoin. You can also donate right now with the QR code on your screen. We've raised 196,000 Satoshis towards our goal of 4 million Satoshis so that I can get a new laptop with a better keyboard. It's been about 3 years since I got my old laptop. I use laptops very hard all the time, all the disk space. It's always full. And I use this laptop throughout my entire Europe trips. Not the first, but 2 through 5. And I filmed conferences with the laptop. I edited video with the laptop. The laptop's an important part of my work tools here. And even this computer I'm using, it's been about 3 or 4 years now, but there was a really nice donation that came through where someone supported me to get a new computer. And if you want to support us to get a new laptop, that'd be cool. We had a new donation of, I think it was about 100,000 Satoshis, so practically doubled our total here. We're up to $69, towards our goal of 1,400. So you can donate now with the on-chain QR code, or you can go to Tallycoin and donate with the Lightning Network. Anyone can create a fundraiser at tallyco.in. All you need is a Bitcoin address and a Lightning address or a place to store your Lightning like OpenNode. I think that's it, something like that. And you can set up a fundraiser at Tallycoin. Tallycoin doesn't take any of your money, no fees at all. They can't take any of your money. They're only monitoring your Bitcoin address. What Tallycoin gives you is cool stuff like a page where you can explain what you're raising funds for, a list of your supporters, as we can see right here. And they also give you, here's the supporter list, contributors. They give you charts. You can see how much donations you've raised over time, what percentage of your donations are on-chain versus Lightning versus not raised yet. And they also have this great little share box, the share page. You can do this to raise funds for anything. Kind of my idea. I pitched it to DJ Booth, and DJ Booth just ran with it. He built all of this himself, so I didn't touch the code. But I love the idea. You could raise money for a guitar or for your family or for a piece of chicken. I don't know. You can raise money for anything you want at Tallycoin. So check that out, tallyco.in. I don't have to advertise them, but I do because I like the idea. I think it's a good product. It's a good website. So that's about it for Good Morning, everybody. Hopefully you'll check this out later. I'm not sure anybody was up this early as I was, but give us a thumbs up. Subscribe down below. This is practically a private channel. I just wanted to have somewhere to say some things that maybe weren't about Bitcoin or weren't about politics. I want to broaden out here on the Thomas Hunt channel, Thomas Hunt Show, whatever you want to call it. And that's about it. So thanks so much for joining us. Until next time. Watch this. I push the end stream button because you have to push it twice. So I'm on to there. I'm on to your schemes, Google. Until next time. Bye-bye.